So in my opinion, I believe that the strongest man in the room is the one who knows how to control his sex drive. Not only does he have the most willpower in the sense of he knows how to say no, he knows how to control temptation, but ultimately he's at a heightened level of creativity when it comes to ideas and game plans. He's goal driven. And the reason why I know that is because I've literally been through it. Like, I remember the day when I first met my wife and we were in the courting stages, and we were out at dinner, and she told me that she was celibate until marriage. Imagine a woman telling you that. And at the time, I had no control over my sex drive. Like, I was normally just used to having sex with women just like that, and there was no pushback at all. But she told me she wanted to be celibate before marriage, and the great side of me said, that's the woman that I want to be with. But the weak side of me said, yo, you're not up for this. So I'm like, yo, I want to take on this challenge. And I remember during that entire, I want to say, year and a half of us being celibate, let me tell you, I probably was at my very best self. In the sense of, not only was I most creative, watch this, I created my first business during that time of abstinence. I also built an entire mobile application from scratch during that time of abstinence. I also got promoted at my job during that time of abstinence, and so many other, like, my mind was clear. I was able to get closer to God, and I really started to think and ask myself, why is it that when you're at a stage of abstinence, is it that you're at your best self as a man? And I started to do my research, and I found out that that same energy that I would have normally used towards that same sexual energy that I would have used toward my wife was the same energy that I was using, and it's called sexual transmutation, right? That sexual transmutation is when you're able to transfer and redirect that same sexual energy towards your goals. I was able to successfully transmute that energy towards creativity and creating this business from my mind. But what ends up happening is that usually sexual energy goes out instead of going up. So a lot of times when a lot of these dudes are out here having sex and just on a daily basis, so much sexual energy is going out and it's not being reabsorbed to go back towards a level of creativity. Nor can you have a sense of willpower or discipline over your life. So that's how I figured that was like my secret to being Prince Donnell, being me. That's how I have everything that I have today. And it's interesting because there's another piece to this as well, and it's called semen retention. And a lot of people will laugh because they're like, what the heck is semen retention, Don? I'll explain this to you. Basically, from my research, what I found is that and all the men need to hear this too. This is so important. In your semen, there's over 200 different proteins, vitamins, and minerals inside of that semen, right? So literally every time that you go to have sex with a woman and you do it with a lack of discipline, right? Every time, let's say you do that 2-3 times a week, sleeping with different chicks. Do you notice every time that you do that, you literally lose so much energy right after that moment is over? It's because your body just lost all of that energy and proteins and minerals and vitamins, everything, because the semen is basically the treasure chest for the man. And I think back about it, and I remember those times when I would get so tired after having sex. I remember a time when I literally had to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, and this is how like sex could be like, become so addictive to a man, and how it can literally ruin your life. I remember a time when I had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning for work, but I had a chick call me at 11:30 p.m. and said she wanted me to pick her all the way up and drive to Delaware. Mind you, I lived in Philadelphia at the time. She was about an hour and a half away, and when I got in my car, my gas tank was like on E, right? And I only had like $30 inside of my bank account. But I rationalized out of my head that having sex with her was more important than the responsibility of my finances and waking up in the morning to get to my job. So I drive all the way out there to go get her, drive all the way back. By this point, it's about 2 a.m. in the morning. Then we finally have sex. Next thing you know, it's like I'm asleep by like 2:30, 2:45. I'm late for work the next morning. Do you know my boss called me into the conference room, and I was about to get fired. Literally over a 45-minute sexual activity. And that at that moment, that's what showed me that I literally had a problem. And that I literally was willing to risk my own career for some sex with a chick that I wasn't even with. And I use that story for a lot of men to understand that, like, yo, don't allow sex to control you and you control it. Control that sexual energy. Transmute that sexual energy into a goal. Visualize what goals that you have in your life. Literally, like, look at them, like, print them things out. Put them on your wall. And every time that you're sexually aroused, take that energy now and say, no, I'm pushing this right towards my goal right now. Whether that be your fitness goal. Once you're sexually aroused, go to the gym right now. Transmute that energy into physical fitness. You sexually aroused, focus on your business. Open up your laptop. Start learning about something new about your craft. You sexually aroused, put that towards something more positive that's going to benefit your life. And that's what sexual transmutation is all about. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going to take you from being an average male to being an extraordinary man that has a level of control and discipline. That's how you outpace all the other men that are only chasing sex and you out here chasing goals. You feel me? And it's like, that's what I'm about. And that's why I say the man who controls his sex drive is a man who's the most disciplined one in the room.